Hi, this is Cheryl Peterson with Healing Science Today. I'm going to read a contemporary Christian Science Bible lesson sermon from the English Standard Version of the Bible, copyrighted by Crossway Bibles, and from 21st Century Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, a modern version of Mary Baker Eddy's Science and Health, copyrighted by Cheryl Peterson. Subject: End Times. Golden text is from John. Now, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. Matthew. Jesus left the crowds and went into the house, and his disciples came to him, saying, "Explain to us the parable of the weeds of the field." He answered, "The one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed is the sons of the kingdom. The weeds are the sons of the evil one, and the enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are angels. Just as the weeds are gathered and burned with fire, so will it be at the end of the age." 21st Century Science and Health. Human existence is like a soap opera. The human mind's performance consists of mortal thoughts, chasing after each other only to always find disaster and heartache. In the theater of divine science, life is not at the mercy of mortality. Science can't admit that happiness is ever the sport of circumstance. Error doesn't need to demand more and more attention as it accelerates toward self-destruction. Let's take an abscess. The sore doesn't need to become more painful before the pus is absorbed or drained. Or in the case of a fever, the fever doesn't need to become severe or critical before it ends. Fear can be so great at certain times that human thought will automatically be pushed into a new path. If thought takes the path of death, mortals wake to the knowledge of two facts. 1, they are not dead. 2, they entered a different or interim belief. Therefore, people who have been termed clinically dead come back with stories to tell. Truth works out the nothingness of error in just these ways. Sickness as well as sin is an error that Christ's truth alone can destroy. We must learn how humankind governs the body, whether through faith in time, drugs, or willpower. Body is not first and soul last, nor is evil mightier than good. The science of being rejects self-evident impossibilities, such as an alliance of truth and error in cause or effect. Science separates the weeds and the wheat in time of the harvest. The temporal and unreal never touch the eternal and real. The mutable and imperfect never touch the immutable and perfect. The inharmonious and self-destructive never touch the harmonious and self-existent. These opposite qualities are the weeds and the wheat, which never fuse, though to mortal sight they grow side by side until the harvest. Science separates the wheat from the weeds through the realization of God as ever-present, and individual beings as reflecting the divine likeness. Mark. And as Jesus came out of the temple, one of his disciples said to him, "Look, teacher, what wonderful stones and what wonderful buildings." And Jesus said to him, "Do you see these great buildings? There will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. And you will be hated by all for my name's sake, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. And if the Lord had not cut short the days, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect, whom he chose, he shortened the days." But in those days, after that tribulation, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will be falling from heaven, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. And then they will see the Son of Man coming in clouds with great power and glory. And then he will send out the angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven. 21st Century Science and Health. We approach God, life, as our fidelity to truth and love expands. And in that ratio, we can know all human need and discern the thought of the sick and the sinning for the purpose of healing them. Error of any kind can't hide from the law of God. Paul said, "The mind controlled by the Spirit is life and peace." Whoever reaches the spiritual point of moral culture and goodness can't harm others and must do them good. The greater or lesser ability of a mind reader to discern thought scientifically to heal depends upon the reader's genuine spirituality. It is not a matter of clairvoyance, but of honesty and openness to ever-revealing truth. We welcome the increase of knowledge and the end of error, because even human invention must have its day. We want that day to be prospered by divine science and Christ-like reality. Midnight foretells the dawn. In the midst of darkness, the Magi detected the solitary star leading to the Messiahship of truth. Is it true that Christ is always reappearing? Is the wise person of today believed when he or she reads the light which heralds truth's eternal dawn and describes its radiance? Conditioned by mind-stultifying illusions, people let the hours slip away. Conventional views do not reveal the facts of existence, but immortal perceptions lifts human consciousness into eternal truth. Humanity advances slowly out of old thought patterns. The unwillingness to learn all things correctly binds spiritual understanding in chains. Love will finally mark the hour of harmony, and spiritualization will follow, for love is spirit. Before error is wholly destroyed, there will be interruptions of the general human routine. Earth will become dreary and desolate, but summer and winter, seed time and harvest, though in changed forms, will continue to the end, until the final spiritualization of all things. C.S. Lewis illustrates the idea of spirit's force in his novel, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Main character, Aslan, was killed in lieu of Edmund's. Susan and Lucy, Edmund's sisters, saw Aslan's death and were miserable, feeling as if life had stopped, until Lucy noticed light was appearing in the horizon and lively, modest activity was going on around Aslan, eventually to prove that life and love never end. This material world is becoming the arena for conflicting forces. On one side, there will be disorder and disappointment. On the other side, there will be science and peace. The breaking up of material beliefs may seem to be famine and pestilence, deficit and depression, sin, sickness, and death, assuming new phases until their nothingness appears. These disturbances will continue until the end of error, when all disorder will be swallowed up in spiritual truth. Matthew. Now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And Jesus came and said to them, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always, to the end of the age. 21st Century Science and Health. To understand God strengthens hope, advances faith in truth, and verifies Jesus' word, "Surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." Resisting evil, you overcome it and prove its nothingness. Not human cliches, but divine beatitudes reflect the spiritual light and might which healed the sick. To insist on exercising the human will is to bring on a mesmerized attitude, detrimental to the health and integrity of thought. So be observant and guard against strong mortal-mindedness. Do not protect or cover up iniquity, because it only prevents prosperity and the ultimate triumph of any cause. If you are unaware of the error to be eradicated, you will sometimes be abused by it. The heavenly law is broken by trespassing on our neighbor's individual rights of self-government. We have no authority in divine science and no moral right to attempt to influence the thoughts of others except to benefit them. In mental practice, you must not forget that erring human opinions, conflicting selfish motives, and ignorant attempts to do good may render you incapable of knowing or judging accurately the real need of those who you are helping. Therefore, the rule is to heal the sick when called on and save the victims of the mental assassins. To say that there is no sickness does not heal the sick. You have to know there is no sickness. Ignorance, subtlety, or false charity does not forever conceal error. Evil will in time uncover and punish itself. A balanced system and mind, mentally sustained by truth, goes on naturally. When sin or sickness, the reverse of harmony, seems real to the fleshly sense, calmly and honestly encourage the patient with truth and spiritual understanding, which destroys disease. Expose and denounce the claims of evil and disease in all their forms, but realize no reality in them. Sinners are not reformed merely by assuring them that they cannot be sinners because there is no sin. To put down the claim of sin, you must detect it, remove the disguise, point out the deception, and thus get the victory over sin and prove its unreality. No final judgment awaits mortals. The judgment day of wisdom comes thought, by which human beings are deprived of all erroneous thoughts. As for spiritual error, there is none. Human minds have not completely outgrown their superstitions. Human mindsets embody ghostly beliefs, and time is required before reaching eternity, spirituality, or complete reality. All the real is eternal. Rightness underlies reality. Without rightness, nothing is completely real. Backwardness will continue to be outgrown until spiritual fulfillment appears and reality is reached. Old wives' tales, even new old wives' tales, need to become a thing of the past. We must not continue to be impressed by superstitious thinking, but we must be wise and let go of all misdirected reverences. When we learn that error is not real, we are ready for progress, forgetting what is behind. There is no time in eternity. If we believe the temporal is a part of God's eternity, our spiritual path will be full of obstacles. If we regard matter as intelligent and mind as both good and evil, then every sin or supposed material pain and pleasure seems normal. Truth has no starting point. Divine mind is our soul and gives us unending dominion to image forth goodness.